Everybody, welcome back. Watch This with Joe and Kevin, minus Joe here. I am heading into episode 5 of For All Mankind. And by the way, the show is utterly fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this particular episode, simply because we've had so much deal with process and policy in the first 4 episodes, and I feel like we're finally going to get an episode that is set largely in space, which I'm kind of geeking out about a little bit. We saw a little bit of Apollo 11 and Apollo 10 in flashback, so visually we know that the show's really going to do a good job with recreating the lunar and space environments. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm expecting it to be tense. We got maybe 5 minutes of Apollo 11 in the series so far, and it was incredibly tense. And I don't expect that to lighten up at this point. I don't remember the command module pilot's name, but we have Molly and Ed, 2 of our series leads together, who've had kind of a love-hate relationship going down to the launch. They seem to be getting along really well right now. Molly has taken her job a little bit more seriously and really kind of buckled down to know what she's doing and to do it right. We had a really good Margot episode last time, and her, a very memorable scene with her and Molly, where Margot kind of called her out for not taking this seriously enough, and that Ed doesn't trust her, and that's a really big deal for something of this magnitude and the danger involved with what they're doing. So going to, I presume, a landing on the far side of the moon, because that's where they think there's water, and they're looking for a place to put a lunar base. I think it's the far side of the moon was the plan. Far side meaning the side that never faces the Earth, which creates communication issues, obviously, rectifiable ones. I mean, if you're going to build a base on the far side of the moon, it's pretty simple to do, because you can just build tower relays so you can still communicate around, or satellites, if you want to do that. But I could be remembering that wrong. It may not be the far side of the moon they're landing, but I thought it was. I guess we'll see going forward in the episode. I don't know how much of the mission we're going to get, but I'm assuming it's going to be quite a good deal, because I think the importance that the build up to this, that they've put on this one mission going really well, right? Apollo 15 has to find a place for a lunar base, and has to determine whether or not there's water nearby to make it work. I don't know what that's going to look like. It looked like from the photos that the water was in like impact craters. So are they going to have to like crawl down into an impact crater to see if they can find ice, or not? I look for this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and certainly the introduction of the 2 characters that we're going to be spending our time with on the moon. You really like the 2 characters. Love hate, kind of depending on your perspective on them. There are things to love and hate about Ed. There are things to love and hate about Molly. Of course, that's just the way people work. But I do want to kind of see how they work together in the build up to this. So my expectation, for whatever it's worth, which is not much, is that it's going to be a really, really challenging mission, and that Ed and Molly are really going to have to work well together and trust each other to pull it off. And I'm as a space nerd, I'm kind of hoping they do. All right. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link in our description below to our Patreon page where you can see full-length reactions to this. There it is again, that zoom, right? That zoom and then refocus to kind of give the feel of an actual camera being in space, which obviously isn't watching this. Someone said before that the showrunners has done that on other projects, which I think it's a bit of verisimilitude, right? There's a nice touch of reality.
I wish you'd told me I'd have done something with my hair.
I like this look. You look gorgeous, babe.
How come everything's about her?
Because she's a novelty.
Oh my God, you just called her a novelty.
Every civilization is contained in that tiny blue and white ball.
Yeah.
Don't forget the little people who helped you along the way.
Just as fast as I can.
Okay, Ed and Molly seem to be really good now.
Because the ice is nowhere near your landing site in Mirfagorus.
So where is it?
To the South Pole.
Change the plan. Land us at Shackleton.
That's quite a big change, Ed.
I mean, they are in the race that Nixon is making them do to get the base first.
We need a beachhead against the Soviets. Shackleton looks like the place for it, so if we can get Apollo 15 there first, we should do it.
I knew this is exactly where it was going to come from.
But if we auger in, it won't be Baldwin screwed the pooch. It'll be women can't hack it in space.
She's not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
What I'm talking about. Atta girl.
It's kind of funny that they worked so hard the last episode to kind of rein Molly in and focus her, and now they're saying throw that all out the window a little bit.
Well, now you're really gonna do something.
I mean, you can't really fault Molly's like kind of doomsday approach to it. She was part of the Mercury 13, which somebody shared information on, and I read. Thank you very much, Roland. But you know, she spent like the entire episode 3, Nixon's Women, from the beginning to the end, right? Talking about they're going to cancel this. It's not going to work. It's not going to matter. They're going to cancel it. So she's kind of been, you know, morbidly waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it never did. And I don't know. I feel like she never considered the fact that this was a possibility. So in the last episode, when she was training, you know, and she was making Ed angry and knew she could get replaced, it was like, okay, he can replace me. I really think until Margot gave her the wake up call, it really was, you know, her like whatever that I'm not gonna get my hopes up. Well, she's smiling now. Her hopes are completely up. It's happening.
Karen, hi. Sorry I'm late.
No, you made it before they landed.
5 seconds to power descent.
Roger that. 99. Proceed.
And an unjustified risk to the life of the first American woman to journey to the moon.
God, they're really selling this as a bad idea. God, the cliffs and the mountains. This looks so dangerous.
Kings and Ags agree.
Position checks downrange, short by 15 nautical miles.
That freighter is massive. How are they going to climb down in that? Yeah. Oh my God, that is so intimidating.
Still over the crater.
Contact.
Shut down.
You're on the moon. Oh my God.
I have never wanted a cigarette more in my entire life.
You've come a long way, baby.
That's funny. Virginia Slims. Oh, is this Danny's husband getting back from Vietnam?
Baby!
Oh. Man, this is an emotional episode already.
I have been assigned to Apollo 18!
I wonder how many Apollo missions they're actually going to have, you know, in the world of the show. Is 17? In real life? They'll probably be like Apollo 30. Oh.
Well, I guess congratulations are in order. I hear that you've been assigned to crew of Apollo 25.
Oh, wow, 25. I'm assuming with the base and everything, they're going to be sending them a lot faster.
You ever dream about Ed augering in?
Is he going to stress her out with his worries?
I came upon this huge crater and see all this smoke billowing out of it, and I need to tell someone who will understand.
That's a rough dream, given the circumstances.
Her head.
Oh.
Molly's decapitated head, and
We don't talk about these things.
Yeah.
Ever.
She has her own way of coping with this stuff.
I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you have done.
I hope I can bring you back enough ice for a highball. I know how much you enjoy a stiff drink.
You know, when he goes to sleep on the moon, I go to sleep down here. And when he gets up, I get up.
Oh. Karen, I'm sorry if
Thank you for coming.
I was just trying to apologize. This might actually be footage.
Welcome to the crew of Apollo 18.
Thank you, sir.
Clayton, just get back from NAM? That I did.
This feels tense. Am I wrong? This feels a little tense.
Karen, what are you doing here?
I want to talk to you.
I've read Moby Dick, and if you haven't read all of Moby Dick from cover to cover, all of it, it's an exercise. I learned a lot about whaling and homoeroticism in American literature. Oh my God, he painted his dream.
I thought you were the one person in this whole program who might understand.
Understand what?
That my wife could die up there!
Yeah.
And I tell you what doesn't help. You coming over here and passing judgment on me. That doesn't help.
Houston, this is another dead end.
If there is ice here, it is down deep or it's in that crater.
Space kept me out of Vietnam. Of course it did.
Uh-oh. Don't say something stupid
Is
now,
that what
Bodo.
happened at My Lai?
Oh no, we brought up the My Lai massacre.
Fascinating insight. You make another one like that and I kick your teeth down the back of your throat.
He has been home one day. And I brought him here to get his mind off of what he's been through, and you shoved his nose in it.
Yeah.
I'm running through a jungle. This panther, it's feeding on it.
So a lot like his dream.
But I is still alive. I'm so sorry. I did not come here to do this.
I did something special today just for you. I wrote your name on the surface of the moon.
I don't hate Karen at all. I feel like the expectations put on her in the time period and the marital situation that she's in, the social expectations, it sucks.
I'm teaching them how to ride a bike. I mean, it just made me angry.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, what the hell's wrong with me?
We are egomaniacal narcissists.
Yeah, but that's what makes them great, what they're doing, yeah.
Get him into the crater.
It's 3 times deeper than the Grand Canyon. How far do they need to go?
100-meter.
As you can see, it's pretty damn steep.
We're gonna climb down 100 meters.
Houston, can we make a winch out of the rover?
This rig's nowhere near as strong as the one on your truck. And even in 16G, I weigh half as much as you do.
Yeah. Is Wayne there? Because his wife's doing something really dangerous.
Late again, huh?
I spent all day on it. It's from your dream.
I wouldn't want it. If I was her, that's where my line would be. That's just me. That looks terrifying. I would be terrified.
That's your match in the waves.
This looks so scary. At what point is the oxygen going to start to become a real issue?
Gotcha. That's the end of the line, Molly.
Seize what you get.
Ed, Molly, you are bingo in O2. We'd like
You to knock it off and head back up.
You hear me, Mo?
Yeah, I'm with Wayne. I'd be losing it right now. Now, holler up. Go, go, go. You got a chunk of ice. Up. There's like a whole mountain of it there.
Water
Yeah.
on the moon. NASA's dangerous gamble seems to have paid off.
Okay, so they made it back. I mean, you knew they were going to, but the stress of cutting it close. Because it was a line in Apollo 13. You're real happy and proud. What is melting? Yeah, it's water. That's cool. That's a really cool way to reveal that. 2 years. Oh, 2 years later. Oh, is this the base? Skylab altered to be Moon Lab.
Jamestown base has landed on the edge of
Jamestown.
Crater.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
leave the lights on for the boys on Apollo 21.
Wow, I did not expect the time jump. Okay. Well, it was straight up the episode that I was hoping it would be. Lava on the Moon, very tense. The oxygen thing was, of course, stressing me out. Not nearly as much as the visual of descending over that giant hole, the crater. And I don't know, something to me, it was a lot more terrifying because you couldn't see anything, just taking a rope down into utter blackness. The people who do that, like deep sea divers and things like that, are braver than me. Like cave spelunking and everything is not for me. My claustrophobia would not enjoy that. Plus, it's just the sheer scale of it, right? Being completely dwarfed by a hole like that would be utterly terrifying. I mean, I've been to the Grand Canyon, obviously, but that is a different vibe and a different level of danger. Walking along the steps that have been nicely put along the Grand Canyon is pretty simple. Descending in a much bigger struggle. Ascending, of course. I did it in the July heat, and that was stupid. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I like the tension that they added, and that the fact that Ed and Molly were both throw caution to the wind heroic in this is unsurprising, and it completely fits the characters we've established for them thus far. And of course, the other storyline we had was Karen and Wade, and the differences between those two, and how they handle the stress and the fear of what they're facing. It was completely opposite, right? Karen just puts it out of her mind and pretend it's not happening, and Wade is just constantly at the forefront of his brain, kind of attacking him. And I don't know if they're kind of getting it. There might be a healthy medium, or the simple fact that there's not a right answer, and Karen kind of losing it on Wade and telling him don't talk about it. We don't do that. And then Wade kind of throwing it in Molly's face about how scared he is and kind of yelling at her back. You see both sides of it. I don't know how I would handle a situation like that when the close loved one is in that kind of peril, and you're completely helpless to do anything about it, and all you've got is your imagination and all the time in the world to wait. There is no wrong answer. Although, as I said during the episode, Karen going over to Wade's house to kind of ridicule him a little bit for his behavior the day before, while his wife is on the moon in peril and he's terrified. It was a weird way for her to cope. To yell at him about the drugs, and to yell at him about bringing up the dream to her. I get that it's antithetical to who she is, but I don't know. I guess this might be a little pre, live and let live era. I guess I'm not really sure, but I'm really glad they kind of came to an understanding. They both were able to have a sincere moment with each other about how they really felt, and that was 1971, I guess, and we know now that kind of talking through your feelings is cathartic and can help kind of deal with them. More than suppressing them and pushing them down, which is historically what people have done in this country, and to great self-detriment. And then we had I almost forgot about the really terrible moment between Clayton and Gordo about the Vietnam War, with poor Danny kind of stuck in the middle. She seemed to be mad at both of them, and she seemed to be completely right. Gordo wanting to argue with him about Vietnam, and Clayton wanting to call Gordo a coward for not going. I don't know. It was I don't know what the end game was for either one of them. Maybe it's just a simple fact that Danny is Clayton's husband and Gordon's flight partner, and it seemed like both of them were being territorial about that, so they just felt like fighting with each other, stupidly, to the point where they almost got into a fist fight, like a couple of toddlers. I forgive Clayton a little bit more than I do Gordo, because Clayton's been dealing with it. He's been, as Danny pointed out, he's been home from Vietnam for one day. He's got a lot to process of like real trauma, the kind that Gordon doesn't know. So the fact that he hasn't processed anything yet, he's been home for a day. Gordo owed it to him to not even mention it. I'm glad you're home. It must have been terrible. And that could have been the whole conversation. But I don't know. Even before that was brought up, it felt like there was weird tension between the two. And there probably was. I mean, I get Danny wanting, Clayton's home and wants, him to be part of what her life has become. And so meeting Gordo seemed like a completely reasonable thing. Gordo meeting her husband so that, they all kind of get comfortable with each other. Danny getting more comfortable with Gordo so she can bring her husband along makes sense. And these two guys completely blew that up. I don't know what that's going to look like going forward, because it seemed that Gordo has unnecessarily created some tension between him and Danny, and they, like we saw with Ed and Molly, need to trust each other. So I don't know what that's going to look like going forward. I don't know what Clayton's role in all this is going to look like going forward. He may not show up at a lot of functions in the near future. And you hope that he starts feeling better. feeling better, as in getting help, processing and getting beyond the horrors that he's obviously gone through for the last, I don't know how long, year plus that he was deployed. Man, what a mess that's going to be. I don't think we're done with it. I think Clayton's going to be an important, interesting character moving forward. But I guess we'll see to what extent he's around on the show, because we don't really get a lot of Danny. And now that she's going into space, now that we've met her, we've really spent time with her husband and Gordo together. Hopefully, we get more of her. But we shall see moving forward. Well, thank you for being with us, guys. I look forward to watching the next one with you.